Chapter 91. One as help. Li Shenji returned. Gu Hai secretly let out a breath. The time could be delayed a little longer, however, it would be bad within himself. Li Shenji struck, and Jiang's two powerful guards were immediately blocked. Qin Zibai also merely saved Jiang and did not strike again. Mr. Mo, Mr. Gu is obstructing everything, and even going so far as to frame Jiang. It seems that there is definitely a problem with the ancient sea villa, and Long Wenyu may have already left. Qin Zibai frowned. Mo Yaika smiled slightly bitterly and said, "If it was someone else, I would have been able to conclude that. But in front of me is the ancient sea. False or real? How do you know?" Qin Zibai was slightly stunned. In case Long Wenyu is still inside, and we focus on searching outside the city, taking this opportunity, what if Gu Hai then operates Long Wenyu to leave? Gu Hai intentionally create false impression is also something he always do. Those information of his, it's not like you didn't read it. Empty city trick, anti-empty city trick, he played out of his mind. So, Mo Yaika laughed bitterly. Qin Zibai, the empty city trick, is already the limit Qin Zibai thought of. There is also the anti-empty city trick. True as Mo Yaika said, it was still uncertain if Long Wenyu was in there or not. Li Shenji glanced at Gu Hai, who was in the middle of vomiting blood. His whole body was on fire and his face was flushed. Li Shenji got a burst of speechless. You this pretend also too much right. That Jiang, can you be injured like this? Lord Mo, Lord Qin, little prince, what are you doing? Do you think that I, Qian, am easy to bully? Li Shenji glared and shouted. The two guards immediately guarded Jiang's side. Jiang had just been almost shot and was still in a state of shock. When he looked at Li Shenji, a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. But when he looked at Gu Hai, there was a look of resentment in his eyes. Gu Hai, you set me up. Jiang stared at Gu Hai and roared. Theft. A mouthful of blood spurted out from Gu Hai. A group of people couldn't look on. Sinner, you white-eyed wolf who is envious of his enemies. Mr. Gu has been injured like this by you. We're going to ask His Majesty for an order to punish you for going against the country. A crowd of people roared in anger. HMPH, Gu Hai, you didn't set me up. Then you let Long Wenyu out. You sent Long Wenyu away, right? Where is Long Wenyu? Jiang roared in anger. At this moment, Jiang didn't care about anything else, directly pointing out. Send Long Wenyu away. The surrounding people were at a loss. How did it involve the great Qian's Wenyu sheriff again? Ha ha ha, you don't have anything to say, right? It's good to confront in front of His Majesty. The Qian ambassador looked down on my diwan, secretly ran away, and came to accuse me falsely. Where is Long Wenyu? You want Long Wenyu to come out. If Long Wenyu is still in Dodu, I'll admit that I'm the son of a rebel. Okay, Jiang asked dryly. The surrounding people were at a loss. As Gu Hai's face was gloomy, he looked at Mo Yaika not far away. Looking for a good chess piece or this ram, do not care about anything. Li Shenji's face sank. Long Wenyu had long gone. Where could he call out? Brother-in-law, are you all right? Brother-in-law. Steeply, the sound of Long Wenyu's shout came from the back of the crowd. Li Shenji, Gu Hai, Mo Yaika, Qin Zibai, and Jiang also turned pale. The crowd moved aside, but they saw an Immortal crane car at the back, and from inside the carriage came Long Wenyu's voice. Long Wenyu's voice was not loud, but nearly the entire city had heard it. After all, in the past, the Five Mountains Academy received Long Wenyu, but it was broadcast live to the entire city. County Master Wenyu, a crowd of people called out. County Lord Wenyu is here. Jiang himself admitted to being a chaotic traitor. Some of the people suddenly shouted. Inside the box of the Immortal crane car, it was impossible to see Long Wenyu, but that voice couldn't be wrong. The Immortal crane car flew close to the front, and from the inside suddenly stretched out the woman's right hand, a pull on Gu Hai. Brother-in-law, who injured you like this? The great Yuan imperial dynasty. All of them are not good people when it comes to enmity and revenge, Long Wenyu's voice screamed. Who are you? Pulling Gu Hai into the carriage, the immortal crane car rushed into the manor. Li Shenji's face changed. How did Long Wenyu come back? The surrounding people even stared at Jiang. Chaotic traitor. A crowd of people cursed angrily. Jiang, Mo Yike and Qin Zibai glanced at each other, and the two of them smiled slightly bitterly. Is it County Head Wenyu? Qin Zibai looked at Mo Yike. I don't know, didn't see the face, Mo Yike said with a faintly bitter smile. Then what now? Qin Zibai said bitterly. The people's grievances are boiling over. They can't enter the ancient sea villa anymore. If Jiang tries to break in at this time and is beheaded by Li Shenji, the people will only applaud. Mo Yike laughed bitterly. Qin Zibai was silent for a while. Long Wenyu, maybe inside, maybe gone. Alas, nowadays we can only send people to hold on to this place, and send some more people out of the city to look for it. Mo Yike laughed bitterly. To handed preparation, then it doesn't matter if they come or not. Qin Zibai frowned. Mo Yike shook his head. It's not the same. If it's certain that Long Wenyu has definitely escaped, we can even request His Majesty to go after him. His Majesty's ability, you should know. But if it is not certain that Long Wenyu has escaped, His Majesty is willing to listen to you out. Qin Zibai. As he spoke, Mo Yike suddenly gave a solemn salute to the ancient sea manor's grand formation. Lord Mo, what are you doing? Qin Zibai looked at Mo Yike's sudden salute in confusion. I'm thanking Mr. Gu. The planting of evidence just now only planted Jiang. If even the two of us were to be planted together, then your and my reputation would be completely stigmatized. Mo Yike laughed bitterly. Qin Zibai was slightly stunned to see Mo Yike finish his salute and slowly retreat. Qin Zibai looked at the large formation, also gave a slight salute and led his people away. Bastard, get lost, get lost. Jiang's reputation completely stank. All the people didn't give a good face. Jiang could only flee. Thank you all, Li Shenji said to the surrounding people. No need for you to thank us. We are repaying Mr. Gu. It has nothing to do with you. The surrounding people immediately shook their heads. Li Shenji faintly laughed bitterly. Gu Hai really did win the hearts of the people. Twisting his head, Li Shenji slowly entered the large formation. He soon met Long Wenyu at Gu Hai's residence. It's not County Lord Wenyu. It's you. Li Shenji's face sank. But it was Immortal Wenyu, who was currently supporting Gu Hai with one hand and grasping an ancient zither with the other. Simulating Long Wenyu's voice is just a bit. Camp Master Li doesn't need to make a fuss, Fairy Wenyu said indifferently. Li Shenji frowned and looked at Gu Hai. Gu Hai's face looked much better as he took a deep breath and said, Camp Master Li, the most important thing for us right now is to delay time for the County Lord and the others. So, during this time, if there are any curmudgeons intruding, I hope you'll block them. This is natural. Li Shenji nodded with a frown. Fairy Wanna and I still have something to say, so I won't entertain you anymore. Gu Hai sent off his guests. HMPH. Li Shenji let out a soft grunt and twisted his head to leave. Li Shenji had just left for a while. Theft. A mouthful of blood spurted out from Gu Hai. His face flushed once again, and a trace of flame even emerged from his body. Obviously just now, in front of Li Shenji, he had deliberately pretended to be fine. Once Li Shenji left, Gu Hai could no longer suppress the great fire in his body. What's wrong with you? Not pretending. Fairy Wanna was surprised. Hehe, thank you for coming to help me out just now, Gu Hai said with a smile. But Fairy Wanna grabbed Gu Hai's right hand and checked it out. What a huge fire. Flames burning your body. What's wrong with you? Fairy Wanna was surprised. Nothing. I'm shutting down for a while. Gu Hai smiled bitterly. This is still nothing. You can't suppress this great fire at all. How can there be a fire that you can't suppress? Wait a little longer and you'll be burnt to death, Fairy Wanna anxiously said. It won't, Gu Hai said weakly. How wouldn't it be? This is the Samadhi true fire. It's the Samadhi true fire. The only Samadhi true fire in the world is the Samadhi true fire that only I have in the Wuxia Taoist cult are. In the Wuxia Taoist cult, I don't even have the qualifications to touch the Samadhi true fire. It's no good. If you don't think of a way, you're going to be burned to death, not even if there's the fire god's palace. Fairy Wanna had an anxious face. It's fine. Poof. Halfway through Gu Hai's sentence, another mouthful of blood spurted out. Gu Hai was going into seclusion. That was to find a way to take out the fire god. And with the fire god taken out, everything would be fine, right? But Fairy Wan obviously didn't think so. Kwong. With a probing hand, the door of the large hall, where the two of them were located, closed with a bang. Gu Hai stared at Fairy Wanna. Wanna Fairy, however, waved her probing hand, and steeply, countless flower petals were laid flat on the ground in general. Wanna. Gu Hai was slightly stunned. However, the red veil on Fairy Wanna's body had already slipped off, revealing smooth and white skin. Biting her lips, Fairy Wanna slowly hugged Gu Hai, her vermilion lips kissing Gu Hai's mouth that was still sticky with blood. In the great hall, the sound of a joyful rhythm soon resounded. In Gu Hai's fire god palace, Immortal Wanna's Yuan Ying once again entered. It and Gu Hai's fire baby hugged each other. Boom boom boom. In the sky above the fire god palace, the cracks on the ceiling boundary that wrapped the fire god grew more and more. Steeply, rolling endless fire rushed straight out. If it had been before, it would have been able to tear Gu Hai's physical body apart in an instant. But at this moment, it strangely entered the two intertwined Yuan Ying. Buzz. The two Yuan Ying grew bigger and bigger, and gradually the appearance of the Yuan Ying gradually became exactly the same as Gu Hai and Immortal Wanna, as if it was a smaller version of the duo. The flames around the two Yuan Ying rose in all directions, crazily absorbing the flames emerging from the fire god. Boom. The ceiling boundary boomed and completely burst open, and the fire instantly filled the fire god palace. The two Yuan Ying, as if they were to black holes, were absorbing the great fire, while emitting bursts of golden light that surged into their bodies, allowing their bodies to withstand this Samadhi true fire in general. For a while, within the great hall, the petals slowly burned, accompanied by the sound of non-stop petulant chants, until 2 days later, with a high-pitched sound, only after everything calmed down. Boom. To people's body, all drumming a stream of air will burn the petals blown to the 4 directions. Seemingly refining the Samadhi true flame was too much work, too exhausting, and the duo fell into a deep sleep.